All right. All right, we live. I think
Live.
we almost live. We might be live. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I just cannot get this stupid thing. What happened? Back to meeting.
Okay. Yep, we live streaming on right now. All right. So let me find this.
All right. Let's see. You went live on the Facebook. I don't know. I just cannot get this stupid thing. What happened? Back to meeting.
Okay. Yep, we live streaming on right now. All right. Okay, did I got this? Do I have this? Just now.
Facebook. No, I just cannot get this stupid thing. What happened? Back to meeting.
Okay, got us. Got it.
I need to turn down my speaker.
Okay. All right, so how much time you want to give before we start? You know, I don't wait too long.
We can go. I mean, I see Stacey Shay down there. We got a couple folks walking, so or watching, so we can start.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with you. Tell me where tell me where you found that post from and what made it and I want to go with the post office one first.
Okay.
So okay, let me hold on, let me bag up. I gotta set the stage. If you don't see it, number one, for anybody watching, if you don't see it, then go to the Free Thinkers page and you scroll down a little bit. Nikki had an interesting post on so this is the story. A woman goes into the post office doing her post office stuff, and a guy, I think, is attracted to her.
Office employee.
Yes, correct. And a guy at the post office who is an employee of the post office is attracted to her, and he doesn't say anything at the time, but later on, when the woman gets back to the house, and I don't, you know, I'm guessing maybe this is a day or two later, I'm not sure. There's a note left on a priority mail sticker that says, I'm gonna read it directly. I don't want to misquote it. Please don't think I'm a creep or anything. And usually when you start it off like that, then that's already a bad sign. Anything beautiful. It's just that at the time you came to get your package, I really couldn't talk with you like I wanted to because my bosses were out. But I would love to officially meet you and get to know you a little better. Or something if it's not asking too much. P.S. Like I said, please don't think I'm no creep. That's bad English, or a stalker, but I'm guessing he's saying I'm the guy at the post office with the dreads. Like I said, if it's not asking too much, and it's signed, it's blurred out, but his last name is Sean. So, so now the girl who received this message, or the woman who received this message, she proceeds to post it somewhere on social media and say, hey, this, she felt that this letter was creepy because the mail worker sent it directly to her home by obtaining her personal information while she was at the post office. The question was it creepy for him to do? And several people chimed in on the post saying, wow, she decided to humiliate him by making this public. He probably lost his job too. Someone else wrote, this could have been her soulmate with a lovely story to tell the kids about how they met. That's the romantic version of it. But no, she chose Facebook and IG instead. Somebody else wrote, I love that he went after what he wanted. Some of us probably missed out on our blessings for not speaking up. This could have made a great love story, but instead she posted it to humiliate him. Shake my head. So, Nikki, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. So initially, the reason I think it caught my attention most is because a male friend of mine posted it, and his comment was basically, was old boy out of line? Can men basically not go after women? Or was she doing it just for clout to try to put him out? And of the maybe 3 or 4 people who had replied to that, that comment or to that post, by the time I'd seen it, were all males, and they all agreed that girl was posting it for clout. And so when I read it, I generally try to look at things from a multitude of perspectives. But when I read it, I was like, first of all, you got my address from your place of employment. So that's violation number 1. Anything past that point, you know how I feel. If the foundation is wrong, everything past that point is foul. So you went and broke some kind of policy and procedure with the United States government and went and jacked your system to find my address. Does that mean? No. So people are like, well, was he trying to threaten her? So when you read through some of those replies, it got into the dynamic of the women who were like, oh, well, what's wrong with that? And she's tripping and da 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 da. So it was interesting how many of the men thought that it was just a chick posting that for clout, trying to get old boy in trouble. But women are like, no, that's violation number 1. Like, yeah, it's cute, but that shit ain't cute. No. So it was an interesting conversation about setting boundaries and how, other women who had made comments about how that was a violation were kind of being dogged on by other women about, oh, well, you should be flattered. That's why y'all women single and so on and so forth.
Oh, okay.
So it was a very interesting conversation, or it was a very interesting thing to read.
Jump. What sayeth you, Stacy?
Well, given the guy's position, like, okay, so hi bees. I've had a dude show up at my job before, but it was under completely different circumstances. Like, sometimes it's cool if you're talking to a dude and you tell him where you work or whatever, and then he shows up and brings flowers and stuff. That's cool, but that's not what happened here at all. This lady did not tell him where she lived. She didn't tell him anything. He looked that stuff up and then came and tracked her down, and that is creepy. Like, no matter how you slice it, that's creepy. He could have waited until she came back. He could have put like a shot in the dark on Craigslist or something. You don't just show up to a woman's house looking up her address at your job when you've got no right to do so.
You even open other people's mail. What gives you the right to look up my address and come send me mail or leave me mail? Like,
it's completely intrusive.
Getting the information that makes it so red flaggy.
Exactly. Like, this guy doesn't care about. He wants what he wants so much that he's gonna break the law.
Desperate.
And that's weird. Like, just wait till she comes back or go catch her outside or something. I'd rather have a person chase me out to my car in the parking lot than to show up at my house.
Yeah, it's not cool. That's a violation of privacy.
It's
literally
it's
a violation of privacy.
unethical. It's unethical, and if they're unethical there, then what else they got? You know, they want what they want at any cost, and that says a lot about a person.
And I think that there are women who may post things like that. Like, you see some women who post advances from men in their inbox and they'd be like, oh, this sorry ass dude and he has no game. And like, so I get that bullshit. And I think that's, kind of tacky sometimes. I don't think this was that. I don't think that she was posting this on there to either one, try to get dude fired, or two, try to get clout.
How arrogant.
Even if she was, you have to consider the other perspective that I appreciate her posting it because now it's a conversation that we get to have about shit like this. She may have been posting it because it's just like, wow, this dude did what? Like,
honestly, she might have posted it for safety reasons. Like, she might have posted it for safety reasons to tell people that this dude did this stuff, because that's crazy. Like, I don't know what kind of, when people say clout, like, what kind of clout are you gonna get from some strange dude showing up on your porch? Like, what do you mean? Telling people about it is a clout.
He went to such an extreme to try to get this woman's information.
No,
that ain't cute.
Nobody, and no woman is proud of that mess. Like, no woman who's not sick, who's not, no healthy woman is proud of that sort of mess. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. And police don't do anything until somebody actually does something. So she might have been posting it just to let people know that, hey, there's this creepy dude from the post office that showed up on my porch. So if anything happens to me, he did it.
Right. There's just a million ways Buddy could have gone about maybe trying to find this woman. There's a million ways he could have done that. And yeah, it makes sense to do that, but
he should have said something. Say something when she's standing in his face.
Well, he couldn't because the supervisor was there. But you rather go break the law and go get this woman address out the system? Come on now.
What happens when your supervisor finds out about that?
Okay.
Okay, Denise, jump in. What did you see the post?
I did. I saw the post.
Okay, jump in.
So I seen how people look like their first immediate thing to do, like in the comment section, or at least the parts that were screenshotted, because I'm sure everybody wasn't saying that shit, but their first thing was to be like, damn, she almost got him fired. I'm like, okay. So that was interesting that to take people, went with or whatever. And granted, maybe she wasn't even threatened. I don't know what woman would be threatened that some random guy knows where she lives. If some dude tries to talk to me on the train and knows what stop I'm getting off at, I get nervous. And I have a ways to walk to get to my house. If some dude is talking to me when I'm walking down the street, if I'm walking like in my neighborhood, I'm a little bit nervous because you can like know where I live. So if somebody went out their way to get my address, to send me a letter, it just makes me nervous. It makes me scared. Now, we don't know if he would go that far, but it doesn't matter. That is very scary. You know where I live now. And that's just kind of where I stand with it. You know where I live. That shit's scary. And who gives a shit if he's posting it for clout? Like, even if she is posting it for clout, who cares if he loses his job? He put his job on the line when he sent the letter, knowing that he could lose his job. So it's kind of like, what is?
This is gonna be good. Tiara, have you saw the post that's on Free Thinkers that we were talking about?
Yeah, I seen the post.
Tell me your thoughts.
Well, I don't think, what day and age would this be okay? Like, I think we need to understand boundaries and understand you before you come and invade someone's space. Because I believe when you're sending messages to someone's house, that's their space, that's their comfort zone. When you invade someone's space, you need to ask for permission. There was no permission granted for him to go there. He made that, and then he used his employment to do so, which is even a further violation. Yep. You know what I mean? So let's forget all the stuff that you're trying to come on to a woman, right? But the fact that you use your employment to do so. That's scary. So you violated and went beyond boundaries that anybody decent would know better. We got to use common sense. I mean, there's plenty of ways you could have reached out to this young lady without having to go through this means. And what I've seen as far as the backlash for her just speaking out on that and letting people know that she was uncomfortable. Like, we should be more open to listen on why people are uncomfortable. You don't know what kind of experiences she has encountered in her life that may have terrified her about this. It don't even matter, but we dismissed her immediately, as you should be grateful for this man.
That's why you single. That's why y'all ain't got no men.
Yeah, you should be grateful for this admiration of this man, as if, that's the only thing we are, that we value.
Right.
My thing was, it was totally a violation of her privacy. We don't know his headspace. Anybody headspace that will go beyond this should be questioned.
Mm-hmm.
But we get into this thing where, they dismiss a lot of valid points because social media is an access point where we put our messages out there, and they think now everything is a clout message. Oh, this is clout. It's clout. No, how about she's just really being open? And she should be allowed to be open. She should be allowed to express herself for her fear, her concern, and shouldn't be berated or cut down in the way by women.
A lot of them too. And that was part of the whole dynamic of that post, is the women who were kind of attacking this woman and saying she's doing this for clout or she's doing this for attention. What? So it's the women versus women shit. And then the men, oh, she's doing it for clout, she's doing it for clout, she's doing it for clout. That's why y'all can't catch a man. That's why everybody's single. Don't nobody want to take you out. What? Are we that fucking fragile as a society?
Can we get back to understanding how you communicate with somebody in the proper means?
Yes versus no. Like, there's a way to do this. And everything about that for me was so wrong.
It truly was. I just don't see how people don't compute that.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question first. Was this, and that's why I say some of people's favorite love stories, it deals with the man pursuing the woman and going out of his way to show that I really want to be with you. My question is, was this ever okay at any point in time, or is what he did, has it always been out of bounds?
This wasn't that. This wasn't him making some grand gesture and, this wasn't that. This was him going into a database to find this woman's personal, private, confidential information, where she fucking lives, that she can choose to keep private if she wants to. She can check the mark at the post office that she doesn't want to have her address posted. She can be a completely anonymous person if she wants to. Like, unless you know where I live, you don't know where I live. So she may have been off the radar. Who knows what her situation was? But for him to go those lengths to break the law, I'm sure somewhere, break code at work somewhere. I mean, I'm sure she was a beautiful woman, but goddamn, you finna do all that just to see if she might or might not be interested in you? It's very much okay to court a woman. It's very much okay to make grand gestures. It's very much okay to be chivalrous. It's very much okay to do some wild ass things to get somebody's attention where there's maybe some reciprocity involved. But this wasn't that.
Okay, let me give a couple more scenarios.
Wait, Quentin, because I think I know where you're trying to go with this. You say at what
I bet you don't know where I'm trying to go. Yeah, but go ahead.
I hear what you say. You trying to say at what period of time was this okay? Okay, so if we go back to the 1800s, yeah, letters was the only way we could get across the people. Okay, but even then, you had some type of involvement, a relationship that you kind of were familiar with this person that's courting you. She didn't know this man from a can of paint. Come on.
So, okay, this is where I'm going. This is where I'm going.
What you're doing.
No, first of all, you have no idea
You was like, at what period?
Trust me.
It's no period.
Trust me, I'm the ultimate antagonist, and I'm gonna make sure that this conversation stays spicy. And you don't even know what I'm thinking. So
Okay, what you thinking? What you thinking? Then?
I ain't gonna tell you yet. I got some more questions. I'm gonna tell you, but I ain't gonna even. Because I want you to direct it toward your frustration toward me before you know what I think. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. So let me ask. Okay. So how do I want to say this? Does it matter? Okay, hold on. Okay, this is what I'm going to ask. Is it possible that there's something that we were missing that could change your perspective? For instance, say they had a little conversation going on. Say it was a little batting of the eyes and flicking of the hair. He could have been flicking his dreads. You don't know what's going on. It seemed like there could have been a connection, and that's why he chose to go forward and try to get her. So what I'm saying is, if that was the case, would it still creep you out, even if you felt you had a connection with someone? You had a connection, you left, they reached out to you later. You may have been feeling them, but the fact of the matter of how they contacted you just totally turned everything off. Would that still be the case even if you were feeling someone?
Listen, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, jump in, Ivory. You ain't said nothing yet. Go ahead, jump in.
No, it changes everything. It does. Because I've been in that. Well, when I was in college, I was in that situation, and somebody used the position they had to get my dorm number or whatever. And because I liked them, I thought that's a little creepy, but I liked them, so it was okay.
That's what I'm asking. It was okay because you liked them a little bit.
He knew of him. They had a safe common denominator. It was school. That's a whole nother dynamic than some random ass dude at the post office be like, she looked good, let me get her address. No, how about you not?
No, the only reason I say that it's still similar was because he worked at the dorm and he had access to my dorm number because he worked there. So it's still kind of the same situation where I'm like, in my young mind, I was still like, this is kind of an invasion of my privacy and you using your position in a not good way. But I like you and I wanted to talk to you. And so you have used your position in a not good way, but I like you. So I'm not going to not talk to you because I like you. So I think it changes it.
So you went along. So hold on. Let's follow this through a little bit. So how did it play out? Did you talk to him some? What happened with that?
Oh yeah, a whole train wreck of my college years, like 2.5 years of on and off relationship. Okay. But it had nothing to do with how it started. But yeah,
right. So my point was doing that was actually successful.
It worked.
It did work, even though it didn't end that well. Stacey, go ahead.
But Ivory, did he turn out to be crazy?
No, he wasn't crazy.
None at all. Like not even a little bit, huh? Not
even a little bit. He was like a normal person that used his position in a way he probably shouldn't. But he wasn't crazy.
Okay.
But that's a mutual,
like that legitimately bothers me. Like if you are abusing your position and you're abusing your power, that is wrong.
I'm with you on that. Like that kind of demonstrates some other kind of underlying kind of personality disorder stuff for me. Like, and I'm somebody who bucks authority. Trust me.
And like, listen, I'm sure another lady might have cussed him out. If I could call their dorm number because he got it at his job, and they would have been in their rights to cuss him out. Now, like I said, I liked him. That's my 3-year-old. Excuse me. I liked him, and so I did not. So I just think it can change it.
So they say like the difference between stalking and flirting is interest, or stalking and harassment is interest. But my goodness gracious, I could not. And also a dorm thing is kind of different because you can like look at a wall and like watch a person. But a post office, there's a whole zip code or 4 that they're dealing with right there, and they're having to look. I just, it's weird to me, like you feel confident enough to break all these rules, but you don't feel confident enough just to speak to me and give me the choice as to whether or not I want you to have that access to me.
And then how many people dorm rooms have he done this to?
It's just weird.
You can make that argument about anything, though.
I mean, but I'm just saying. At the end of the day,
it's a valid argument. It's a very valid.
Because he may have done this to several girls, and then he
It
found
works.
one that was willing.
It works.
But I'm saying that's everything. If you ask a girl out on a date, just
But that I'm
casually,
saying it doesn't make it right. It's just he found someone that is going along with it. His behavior was not an ideal behavior. He just found somebody that had mutual agreement with that behavior.
okay.
I'm not I listen, and I'm saying I'm not disagreeing with anything y'all are saying. The original question was, does it change it for you if you like the person? So
And
I
it
was
does.
saying that it
does.
if you like the person, not saying that it's still not disagreeable behavior. I agree with you guys with that.
Yeah, and that's one of my things. That I think that's often a component that's missed. And that's why I asked that, because sometimes I think from a male point, it's a lot of it is contingent on how much does the person actually like you.
But
So
I also
if they don't like you, then you're, and I'm not like, finding somebody address that is extreme. I wouldn't recommend it at all. But saying let's take it even a step back, asking someone out in the workplace. Now you meet every day, so it's not like they're intruding your private space. They're asking you out in the workplace, which, trust me, I understand that's that's a fine line as well. But there can be a difference purely depending on if you like the person and if you're attracted to the person, how you respond. It can go from sure to no thank you, but I appreciate you asking, to you're a creep, to I need to speak to HR, and all of that can literally be
flirtation
dependent.
and harassment. The only difference is interest.
Right. So okay. So thank you. That's kind of what I'm saying. How much of it is actually harassment if it's not harassment, depending on the person who's doing it?
No,
I think. Go ahead.
No, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. No, go ahead, Stacey. I didn't want to cut in.
I was just gonna say, like, consent matters. Consent matters. Like, if you're flirting with somebody and you're telling them, and you tell them where you work and you tell them where the places they can find you, and then they show up at one of these places, that is completely different than you going to mail a package and then some dude mailing you a letter at your home. Because like a woman, when she told, like, there's such a thing as strategically placed information, and we don't release information that we don't want people to know about us. If we don't want a person to know where we work or what area of town we stay in, we are skilled in dancing around that stuff, but still seeming approachable and engaged. We can tell you a whole bunch of stuff without telling you a damn thing. Okay, so if we share all that information and then you show up at the next day at our job with flowers, chances are we were okay with you showing up at our job with flowers because we told you where we work and what time we were going to be there. This lady showed up to the post office and this guy sent her some stuff. Like, he got that access to the information without, like, it's not consensual. It's not the same.
Okay, got you. Let me jump in kind of to what you're saying, because I don't want it to curve before I ask this second question. Anybody jump in on this? And it kind of goes back to what I was saying a little bit before and what you touched on, Stacey. In this situation, did she jump the gun too soon? Did she go from 1 to 10 too soon? Or was there any case to where maybe, like he said, he wasn't a creep, but your actions will kind of dictate that? That was kind of creepy move you did, but for me as a man speaking, it's I don't condone it. Number one, I just put that out there. But it's not until the unwanted follow-ups come to say, "Hey, you doing too? You intruded some. You asked the question. If I politely tell you no, then that should be it." But for you to go from 1 to disgusted immediately off of the first encounter, did she jump the gun too soon? Somebody give me some input on that.
No.
Okay.
No. I think, and I can't even say this, but if I was going to like rate 1 to 10 what jumping the gun would be, I would say like him sliding his number to her and then her like having this whole big thing about it. That may be jumping the gun. But you finding my address, like
right,
my number there, could you have just called me? You found my whole address? Like, I mean, hey, I don't know. But if I had to rate 1 to 10, she could have called the cops after what he did, and I would have been like, "Yep."
Let me
Because you
follow.
don't know this thing.
Let me follow this up with you, Denise, because I think in that scenario, I totally get it. Let me go back to a workplace scenario.
Mhm.
If someone say they work together,
Mhm.
he asked her out, and I'm asking this because you'll see this a lot of time. He asked her out, but because she's going straight to HR because she didn't like the fact that he asked her out and she had no interest in him. Are situations like that taking it to the extreme too fast?
I think it's a couple
See,
of those things, right?
Mhm.
Are they peers versus like, is he her senior? You know what I mean? Like when you start getting into like things like that, it can be an issue, right?
Right.
However, it really just depends on someone's personal experience. It depends on how they felt when that happened. I've had dudes try to talk to me. I've had dudes try to talk to me at work or whatever and stuff like that. I don't care. Because if I tell you chill, that's not what it's going to be. And you chill, I'm not going to take it to the extreme. I'll have a lot of conversations with people before, and that's just me in life in general across the board, before I feel like I need to take another step with somebody else that's not involved, before I feel like we're going to get a third party involved. But I mean, it depends. Everybody's experience is different, and everybody's way to approach someone to ask them out is different. So if a person immediately feels uncomfortable and wants to go to HR, I don't think it's extreme, because if they feel uncomfortable enough to go to HR, then they should go.
Jump in, somebody. Stacy, jump in.
I've experienced like all kinds of situations like that. I think all of us have, but like Denise was saying, it really depends on the severity of it. In most cases, no, you're not going to go straight to HR if a guy asks you out. You're just going to say no, thank you, and move on. If hang on a second. My puppy is getting into stuff. If the guy keeps persisting and doesn't respect your boundaries, then that's something else. But no, but again, same thing. If a guy comes on and he's like super out of line and super disrespectful in his initial request, then yeah, sometimes stuff goes straight to HR. It really does depend entirely on how the person comes at you and how they respect your boundaries. You can't be mad at a person for shooting their shot, if they shoot their shot respectfully, like you can't be mad about that. But if they don't respect your boundaries, then that's a different thing.
You better do it off the clock. You better do it off the clock.
Well, but even then,
But you're not on the clock, Tiara.
I'm just being messy. Being messy.
But no,
on the job, right?
I agree with you 100%.
Don't pitch woo on the job, right? But
protect your position at all times.
But still, if you stop when I say stop, if I draw my line and you stop at that line, then it's no harm, no foul.
Right.
Yeah, I agree, because I had a guy that irritated me to the point, and I would never go to HR with him. But I mean, because we had a friendship and stuff like that. But no, I wouldn't date him, and I would never date nobody in my job because I feel like that's just a no-no for me. But I don't think I would go to HR for that. I mean, like I said, it would have to be something egregious for me to do something of that nature. But this gentleman, they don't have a type of relationship, you know what I'm saying, or encounters that they could be able to conversate in that manner. And I just think this workplace incidents, violations are different than someone that you do not know. Yeah, that's just for me.
Well, but even at that, even in workplace situations, even in those scenarios, I think the bottom line is people just you got to know your place, man. You got to know what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. You have to read people, you have to watch people, you have to be engaged enough to know that one, this person might even have some interest, but two, the appropriate way to go about approaching them. And the way that situation took place. No, I see somebody in the comments says, how else was he supposed to get to know her? It was a little creepy, and that's the whole thing. Like, no, at some point we have to make these markers that
You might feel
There's a
that's
way
your
that you approach
soulmate
people.
though.
There's ways you don't approach
Man,
people.
that ain't.
And that's not it.
Wait.
Okay, hold on. Look,
Yeah,
I'm being a little light. Hold on a second.
I know you
Let
being
me
messy.
let me ask a question though. Instead of the whole finding your address, if he would have tracked her down on Facebook, would that have been okay? Like, would that have
No.
been?
No.
That's
It would
not
be less
your
creepy.
personal address.
It would be
No.
less creepy. I'm not gonna lie.
He's supposed to forget everything about that woman the second he walks away from her counter.
Why? See, now hold on. I don't agree with that.
It's a confidentiality. It's a community trust thing.
I
We
partially
trust
do agree with you
them
though.
we trust them with everything about us.
Right. He got her
So,
name
he
through
knows
that job.
The U.S. Postal Service knows everything about us. They know everything about us, and we trust those employees to uphold the utmost integrity and confidentiality and respect for our privacy, and to exactly act like they don't know all the stuff that they've got access to, which is why they are trusted with that access. He violated 1,000 different rules, like both personally on like an interpersonal dating somebody thing. You violate. That's like a pop-up. Like, you showed up at my house. That ain't cool. So there's that thing on the interpersonal thing, and then on the professional level, as a postal worker, he violated my trust. I had higher expectations for those people.
I gotta agree with you, Stacey. I mean, even he got her name through means that he normally wouldn't have got it through. So
it's all wrong. All wrong.
It's
I got
all
you.
wrong, but it is less creepy.
It's less creepy. Okay, less creepy. We got less creepy here. Let's go.
However, to Stacey's point, if you got my name and you looked me up, I don't know that you won't go further and get my address and do that whole. It's a weird space. It's a very weird space because of the access. He should have just slid his number. He would have been better off being like, "Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day," and put his number on the receipt or something.
I wanted to disagree, but I have to. I have to agree. I have to agree. I wanted to disagree, but I have to agree.
Trisha, jump in. What are you thinking?
Hey there. Well, I don't know if I walked in on. I don't know if you guys are talking about a specific situation or not, but
okay, I'm gonna give you a 19-second rundown.
Okay.
A guy who works at the post office. A girl came in. He kind of liked the girl, but he didn't talk to her at the moment because his bosses were around. Later on, he got that information and he sent her a note, a handwritten note saying, "Hey, I don't want to be too creepy, but I kind of liked you. I want to see if I could take you out sometime." The girl posted it on Facebook and was like, "This is kind of creepy." And then other people on Facebook kind of insulted or berated her because she put him on blast, basically, without even giving him an opportunity or just politely saying no. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, okay.
Mind you, Trisha, he got her address and sent her the note that way. Just
That is correct. That's an important. That
was the
note.
first thing that came to my mind. Is I'm an empath, and so I put myself in the situation, and I'm like, if things don't go right, yeah, he has my address. He has my no. Like I live in a small town. I am friends with my mailman because we partied together 20 years ago. But if so I have no problem giving my number. But no. If some I know what it's like to get involved professionally, and it's got its ups and downs, but the downs aren't worth it at all.
And they weren't even like, they're not colleagues or anything. This is a customer walking
He just went out and grabbed it.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I was actually just talking to somebody about this, this is a pet peeve of mine, it really gets on my nerves. And I know it's common, but it just gets on my nerves if somebody's hitting on me before they even ask me, "Hey, are you available?" Because
That's true.
the first thing that I want to tell them,
Really?
I'm like, would you be saying this stuff because the flirt? And I'm like, would you be saying this if my partner was here with me right now? You know, like, they don't even ask, like, hey, are you available? Hey, are you interested?
Man.
Or
God, I'm glad I'm in a
That's-
relationship, man.
That's that permission.
Rules is too hard now. Shoot.
I mean, the rules of the game have absolutely changed.
I wouldn't be upset if somebody gave it's what Denise said. He's got the phone number. I mean, one time actually when I went to Atlanta, I flew in, I landed, went out to eat, and a waitress hit on me like that, and I was like, I like this town, you know? So, I mean, of course, but yeah, she didn't have my address. She wasn't asking for my number, you know, like she was just saying, ooh, you're cute, you know?
Okay, hold on.
What is the proper way for a guy to try to elicit some information from a girl without her initially thinking, man, it's really creepy? How does he make any form of contact with her such that to indicate that he has an interest in getting to know her better, to whatever he thinks she's pretty, without that coming across as creepy? What's the right step? How do we?
Whatever y'all say, I
If
bet
somebody
you
comes up to me and
boring.
says, hey, you know, if they're just front and center, blunt, say, you are really, you know, I'm interested. If you are,
It's
then
not romantic.
if you're available, let me know. But I'm not gonna, you know, I don't freak out if somebody is not blunt, but it's really annoying if they're not even, you know, bothering to ask if I'm available. It's not really a creepiness thing. It's just like
A respect.
thank you. Yes.
So it's disrespect to not for the first thing out of his mouth to be, are you available? So it's disrespect if that's not the first thing out of his mouth.
Well, this is the thing, you gotta remember,
different.
each woman is different.
It's kind of
That
like
would sound kind of creepy to me, actually. It's like,
it
hold
sounds
on,
kind of shallow if you're not wanting to get to know the person and like have any interest to who I am, but it's still not insulting either, you know?
I think it's respectful of people's situations, you know, to ask if a person is available. You don't ask them if they're in a relationship or whatever, but to ask if they're available is a different question.
Yeah. There you go.
Because a person might not really be in a space where they're really trying to entertain a whole bunch of anything, you know, like it might not be a matter of like I've been in situations where I'm completely single, but I am not available. Like it's not about me having a man or having a partner or anything like that. It's about, do I have space in my mind and in my life to entertain whatever it is that this person is trying to bring. So yeah, I think it's respectful to ask if a person is available, and then go from there. You know, if they
But
say,
disrespectful not to.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't know about disrespectful, but it's kind of just like annoying.
presumptuous.
Okay. All right.
It's inconsiderate. It's presumptuous and inconsiderate not to ask if a person is available.
I can take that.
I can't take that. Well, I can take that under certain circumstances. Okay, Ivor, you disagree? Because I was especially like if you had a club or a bar or something. Well, anyway, I don't even want to go that far. Ivor, jump in.
I don't think it's about where you're at, but like, why can't I just tell you I'm not available? To me, it's already hard enough to get the courage to talk to somebody. So to go through this list in your head about the things you need to ask them before you shoot your pitch, like, poor man. I mean, that's too much.
Well, that's what I was trying to get to, Ivory. That's what I was trying to get to.
Though,
Ivory, so much, but I'm married. That doesn't offend me. Like, thank you so much for your interest. I'm actually married. And they say, oh, okay, no problem. Like,
and they move along.
It's already hard
Most
enough.
of them move along.
You can tell they sweating. They didn't really thought through. Okay, I'm gonna go talk to her. I didn't work my way up to it. Like, I don't want them to have to go through all of that.
They can save their good pickup lines if they ask if you're available first. Like,
you know what? I feel the opposite way. I think maybe like just coming straight at me and asking me, "Are you available?" I would rather a person like say hi to me. like try to strike up a decent conversation.
Well, I don't mean like the very
And let
first
you
thing
set
out
the
of their
parameters.
mouth.
And let you set the
Right.
parameters of how far it goes and what's the next step by you saying, you know what? Hey, I'm doing well. Unfortunately, I'm not available.
Well, no,
Because
you
if I
don't
say
have to
hi
do
to you and you
that.
got a stanky attitude, I don't even want to know if you're available
But-
or not.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
If you walk up to a woman and you like, hey, how are you? And she goes, good, how are you? Or she's like, good, or she kind of look like that. It's like, okay, you know, she's not